It's hard to imagine not knowing anything about the LG G4. It's been leaked to hell and back not only by the usual slew of leakers, but by the company itself. Now we're finally getting a chance to play with the thing and tell if the reality lives up to the hype. Let's take a closer look. Now, no matter which G4 you get, it'll come with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 808 chipset. That's a hexa-core setup, unlike the octa-core we saw in the G Flex 2 earlier this year, and it comes with 3 GB of RAM. It's always a little tough to test performance in situations like this, A, because it's not final hardware, and B, because we've had maybe an hour to play with it. That said, performance has been really pleasant. It's very snappy. The light touch LG usually takes with its software helps dramatically, but we've seen app launches, app operation, and switching through them like a jerk, by which I mean very quickly, has been as fast, if not a little faster than we've seen on the Galaxy S6, so well done there. You're also going to get 32 GB of internal storage, a 3000 mAh removable battery, and, thankfully, a microSD card slot. Now, all of that stuff is wrapped up in a very slightly curved chassis, obviously not as curved as the G Flex 2, but enough to keep things in one piece if you drop it. There are 3 different finishes you can choose from, all of them sort of appealing in their own way. We spent most of our time with the leather version, which has been leaked extensively in the past few weeks, and I have to say, it is absolutely fantastic. It's probably my favorite leather phone ever made. Sorry, Motorola, I love the Moto X, but this is really nice. LG is also very proud of the 5.5-inch Quad HD screen it's dropped in the G4, and that's because it's what they call a quantum IPS screen. It's one of the first smartphone screens in the world to play nice with the so-called DCI standard, which has been adopted by movie companies and content creators and basically makes for very consistent, accurate colors across movies and now your smartphone. So how does this thing actually look? Well, pretty dang good, as you might imagine. Colors were bright and vibrant without appearing over the top, and LG says we're going to get great power consumption rates and better outdoor visibility, too. Smartphone screens are so open to personal interpretation that you have to wonder if LG's drive for authenticity will even really resonate with people. I had this thing next to a Galaxy S6, and I couldn't say it was necessarily better. Different, certainly, but not better. It's just another option for people to explore, and we'll eventually see if it's something people care about. If there's one thing LG's really proud of, though, it's the camera. It's been completely redesigned. It's got an f1.8 lens, better image stabilization, a full manual mode. Combine all that with a larger 16-megapixel sensor than the one we saw on the LG G3, and you've got the makings of a great mobile shooter. There are, of course, a few other tricks as well, like a color spectrum sensor that'll tell your auto mode what your subject should look like given your color and lighting situation, but we'll have to test this entire camera package out in more detail once we get our review unit. Right, so where does this leave us now? I think it's fair to say that LG has crafted a pretty handsome flagship, especially if you're going for the leather models. The camera is a big leap forward, and there's enough power here to satisfy even the most finicky users. But I've got to go with my gut. The LG G4 feels like more of the same. It's incremental. It's a step forward from last year's G3, but it's not a leap forward like the S6 or the S6 Edge was for Samsung. Not being immediately thrilling is no great sin, and like the leather on the G4's back, this just might be the sort of thing that gets better with time. Stick around for a full review and you'll find out for sure one way or the other.